From parents who used their child's illness to gain clout on TikTok, to the infamous family vlogger turned criminal who psychologically tortured and abused their own children until they managed to escape, these are the worst parents Charlie has called out on his YouTube channel, starting with Christopher Schultz, the man Charlie dubbed the worst father of the year for committing one of the most unthinkable crimes a parent can ever commit.
Earlier this year, he killed his 2-year-old daughter by leaving her in a hot car. 109 degrees. She was left in the car for 3 hours so he could go inside and do some online shopping and watch porn. And also played some video games.
As the news made headlines in the summer of 2024, the community was understandably angry beyond words, leaving comments such as, "That child suffered a horrible death. The piece of shit should get life without parole." But it wasn't until the body cam footage of Christopher Schultz was released by Mariana police that the severity of the father's negligence towards his 2-year-old daughter was truly revealed. See, while at first Christopher displayed shock and grief over his daughter's passing, or at least tried to.
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my baby.
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay?
It didn't even take him several minutes to suddenly decide that he needed to take a shower. An incredibly odd, almost disturbing decision for a man who had just lost his daughter.
Would it be alright? So we can't let you do that right now. We have to stand by with you. Okay? As soon as you can, we will let you know.
You can stay in the room if you want, but I'm gonna talk.
I know this isn't easy for you, but the quicker we get this done and finished up, the sooner you can be with your wife. Alright?
I'm trying to rinse off so I can go to the hospital to be with my wife.
We're not going to shower or anything right now.
And Charlie simply could not wrap his head around how absurd this moment was, especially after learning that Christopher was already known to be a serial law abuser.
He got over the death of his daughter very fast. Now he's focused on practicing good hygiene, probably for the first time in his life, because this dude is a complete fucking rotten slob. He has a history of being a drunk and also driving while intoxicated, allegedly. It's unknown if he was intoxicated during this moment here. There's no conclusive evidence of it.
When Christopher was initially arrested, he was charged with second-degree murder, which essentially means causing death through extreme recklessness rather than intent. But by the time Charlie exposed the case to his audience, the charge had already been upgraded to something far harsher. Charlie was eager to outline the reasoning behind the upgraded charges.
First-degree murder. And the reason for that is, he claimed that he left his daughter in the car because she was sleeping and he didn't want to wake her. But it turns out he has a history of irresponsible and dangerous behavior towards his children, including previously leaving them in cars. And in this case, he said he left the car running, but that he also knew that the car had a safety feature that would turn off the engine after 30 minutes. He said he knew from previous experience. He also tried to claim that he got home at 2 p.m. in order to make it seem like it wasn't that long with her trapped inside of the vehicle. But surveillance camera footage confirms he got home at 12:53 p.m., so the girl was in the car for 3 hours. It wasn't until his wife got home at 4 p.m. that her unconscious body was recovered.
But the more Charlie dug deeper into who this man actually was, the worse it got. News reports dissecting Christopher's previous interactions with his wife revealed just how routine it was for him to put his children in danger.
There's a lot of messages that confirm that this guy is just a complete fucking menace. You haven't shown me you can stop putting the girls in danger or not treat me badly. Even yesterday, you drove home drunk with 2 minors. I've been asking for 3 years to cut back and it's actually gotten worse. You replaced cocaine with alcohol. He repeatedly put their children in danger over and over again. Also, apparently shoplifted beer 2 or 3 cans at a time, so this guy was just boofing beer cans on his way out.
And the worst of his repeated crimes was none other than the very incident that put him in the spotlight in the first place, leaving his vulnerable kids in the car.
On the day the child died, the mother on the way to the hospital with daughter texts him and says, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" He replied, "Babe, I'm sorry." So he has done this a lot. And it's been confirmed by many others that Christopher Schultz left his kids in the car pretty frequently. Schultz also has a 16-year-old from a previous relationship who spoke out about this, saying that Schultz would leave her alone inside of the car sometimes for hours since she was as young as 7. It makes plenty of sense. Actually, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Once I had to go sit out in the car for 4 to 5 hours and continuously had to restart the car and had only eaten once that day. Like, this is someone who has no regard for human life outside of his own. He from what I can tell, and this is me just on the outside looking in, it seems like this guy really viewed children as a burden or a nuisance, so any opportunity he had to like distance himself from them, he would take. And that would be leaving them in the car so he'd go inside and watch porn and play games, without having children around to bother him or something.
Charlie wrapped up the video, hoping that Christopher would receive a massive prison sentence. However, although Christopher later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder due to a plea deal that allowed him to avoid trial for first-degree murder, he ended up taking his own life on the day of sentencing. But due to the nature of the crime, most people online did not have a single ounce of sympathy for him, with the comments being, "I feel bad for his children and nobody else." And he didn't take his own life out of guilt. He took it because he knew there was hell awaiting him in jail. Speaking of ruined reputation, this leads us back to TikTok/OnlyFans creator Mei Lee, whom Charlie called out in a video he titled "Getting Bullied by Your Own Mother." Mei Lee went viral for her rant about having to pick up her son from school for being sick, and while that alone was already troubling, her reasoning for her intense frustration is what made her controversial enough to reach Charlie's radar.
But I think what very few of us have experienced is being bullied by the person who gave us life.
I am so pissy today. Just downright motherfuckers today.
This lady who kicks off this rant with a Chewbacca screech is an OnlyFans model who has a child. And she's about to go on this big spiel about how her child being sick at school has cock-blocked her. And she just starts insulting her own flesh and blood.
For context, Mei Lee had just been called up by the school to pick up her 10-year-old kid because he's thrown up 3 times. But instead of reacting like a concerned parent, her first instinct was to film a TikTok ranting about how irritated she was, both at the school and her son, for interrupting her OnlyFans filming session.
I had to come up here. I had to come up here at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. That's prime time. That's prime time. So that's partly why I'm cranky, but I'm cranky because my child is 10. I had to come up to the school and I had to pick him up. Why? Why did I have to fucking pick this kid up? I had to pick this kid up because he's a man, okay? He's a little man and he's got a weak-ass stomach like fucking most men do.
Charlie's reaction largely reflected what most comment sections were already saying, that the video didn't just reveal what kind of mother she was, but highlighted how deeply humiliating it could be for her child if he or his classmates ever saw the rant.
She gets so heated that her eyes start going cross during this. He's not a little man. He's a little kid. He's 10 years old. He's a boy. And he was puking. It makes sense that the school would call the mother to come pick up the kid because he puked a few times. Can you imagine being the kid and seeing your mom just flaming you online in a viral rant? Like, that's gotta be downright diabolical to experience. Especially if, like, his classmates see it. That'll just be infinite ammunition to use against him anytime they want to make him feel bad. Just bring up that his mom insults him publicly online.
He then played out the rest of Mei Lee's ranting video, which doesn't take a behavioral analyst to deem as problematic.
So somebody busted ass in the library. He threw up not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times in the library. Literally, the nurse calls and she's like, "You're gonna have to come pick up your son because he just vomited 3 times in the library, like exorcist style, all over the place." Why? He's not even sick. Some kid farted next to him and he said that it made his stomach feel bad. I have to interrupt my day because some kid's got a rank asshole. That's a new kind of skid block. What? That's some bullshit. And I was like, does he have to pick her up? Like, can it be like an hour? Can we like work something out? And he was like, he needs to be picked up immediately because he threw up. It's not, I'm gonna Kool-Aid man through the side of a wall today. That's what I'm gonna do. Yep, I'm gonna do because I'm pent up and I got a lot of aggression.
Charlie went on to theorize that she may have exaggerated parts of her story purely for attention.
Here's what I think. I think at some level this story has true elements, but it's embellished for the sake of her being able to exaggerate because she thought it would make for a silly video that TikTok would gobble up.
And to some extent, that turned out to be true, just not in the way she likely expected. Because within days, her absurd rant was headlining major news outlets in Australia. However, the coverage only served as a gateway for people to leave brutally negative comments about her, such as, "Single mother, has an OnlyFans, has an immature, selfish and entitled attitude, attitude. I feel so sad for the child. Some people just shouldn't have kids. Others went even further, speculating that she might be worse off camera. If she acts like this for simply picking her kid up, imagine what she does when she does anything else she doesn't like. But unfortunately, Mei Lee is just one of many parents who don't seem to mind their children suffering for the sake of views. Because years before she even uploaded her rant, TikTok moms using sick kids for clout had already become so prevalent that Charlie was calling them out as early as December 2021.
And thought, what better way to celebrate the holidays? Quite like hopping on TikTok and watching some TikTok moms do goofy dances while their children die in front of them at the hospital. So it's a video of these TikTok moms with their sick child, and they're just doing these whipping and nay-naying, hitting the stanky leg and shit while their kids are dying. Now, admittedly, that last part's a bit of an exaggeration. Not every single one of these videos is the kid in a life or death situation, but all of them are sick because they're in the hospital at the ICU. And the moms all use this as a way of getting some updates on the platform. And they always say like a mother's love for their child is the strongest, most powerful thing in the world. That's a f***ing lie. A mother's love for TikTok likes is significantly stronger.
Charlie then proceeded to show what he dubbed the patient zero of this trend, the first mother and child duo featured in the video. The woman in the video goes by the name Whitney Levitt, who at the time already had nearly 500,000 followers on TikTok and was co-hosting a podcast called The Monday Mama, which centered around the realness of motherhood, promoting conversations about being the badass moms they claim to be. But evidently, this particular move wasn't exactly viewed as badass, as Whitney was immediately criticized online after she posted the video of herself dancing beside her hospitalized baby, with one person writing on Twitter, "If this isn't a sign that this child is going to be neglected in favor of TikTok fame, I don't know what is." And another writing on YouTube that it literally looks like they're celebrating that their kid is sick. Charlie also had quite a lot to say about this controversial video.
The first instinct of any mother shouldn't be to fire up the camera for TikTok clout to capitalize off the situation.
Now, Whitney eventually took the video down and posted a tearful apology, saying that it was just her trying to be positive. But even that response only intensified the backlash, as viewers pointed out what they saw as a glaring contradiction. One comment read, "What bothers me even more is the fact that she has no tears when announcing publicly that her baby's life is in danger. But then there's plenty when she makes a video feeling sorry for herself that people misunderstood her." And another stated, "Her excuse was that she was trying to be positive, but like, positivity usually involves reaching out to friends or family or something along those lines, not busting a move over your recently diagnosed child and posting it on TikTok." At the very least, though, she did apologize for her actions, and no direct harm came to her child as a result of that specific incident. Because the same cannot be said for the worst father on Twitch, who was so aggressive towards his son on stream that Child Protective Services had to get involved. And Charlie couldn't help but sound genuinely furious.
Last night I got sent a clip that made me extremely angry. It's a clip of a streamer playing Madden 21 with his child on his lap, and then he did poorly in the game, like he missed a first down catch or something, and he just went full fucking primal caveman and smashed his controller on the desk, which made his kid start crying and made him even angrier. So then he throws his kid on the chair and then yells at the kid because he's doing shitty in the game.
The streamer in question is known by the handle Buckers, a small creator who, according to reports, regularly streamed himself playing Madden NFL 21 to an average audience of about 5 viewers. Unfortunately for him, one of those very few viewers managed to capture a clip of his explosive outburst towards his young son.
God damn it! Fucking $300 fucking controller! Yo, can I fucking press pause? Just sit right here. Stop. I gotta go, yo. I'm about to fucking lose it, yo. Shut the fuck up!
And as the clip began circulating, criticism piled up almost instantly. One commenter wrote, "If video games makes you act like this to your family, pets, or fucking child, you need to reevaluate your life. Dude needs to get some professional help." Though some were speculating that Buckers likely has some sort of psychological needs, stating, "This guy needs counseling for video game addiction and anger management. I know he's not a victim here, but there's so much more under the surface than just being an asshole. Get him some help, please." Now, Charlie was especially disturbed by the fact that some people online tried to downplay the incident, arguing that it wasn't that harsh. To that, he firmly pushed back, explaining how the behavior shown in the clip clearly crossed the line into legitimate abuse.
Battle-hardened Twitter users with their furry porn avatars and anime profile pics saying that it's not child abuse and they went through similar things and loved their parents and it made them stronger, and that you're just a bunch of poop these days if you can't take your parents yelling at you in your face because they got very sad and salty at a fucking sports video game. I think it's definitely child abuse. Now, he didn't like throw the child, like he didn't go in there and like slam dunk the kid into the chair or anything, or spike it like a football in Madden, but to aggressively throw the child down and then scream in his face is nothing shy of horrible parenting and genuine child abuse, I think.
And for calling this abuse, Charlie wasn't wrong. At the height of the backlash, a Reddit account that claimed to be Bucker's brother-in-law stepped forward. After revealing that his sister, Bucker's wife, had kicked the streamer out of the house, he quoted her statement, which read, "I just want to take a minute to let everyone know that my son and I are safe. CPS has obviously gotten involved due to the ungodly amount of phone calls they've received over the video." However, in that same statement, she also expressed frustration about how quickly the situation spiraled, adding, "I am by no means condoning his actions, but how about you take a second to think about the bigger picture? Not only is this affecting Buck's life, but mine and my son's as well. In the 3 years that I've been with him, I've never seen an outburst like this." And speaking of parents who don't mind projecting their negative emotions onto their children, we have the parent whom Charlie has dubbed the biggest hater ever. Because through an anonymous number, this mother deliberately cyberbullied her own daughter and even encouraged her to end her life. In October of 2020, Lauren Licari, a 13-year-old, and her boyfriend Owen started receiving harassing and sexually suggestive messages to the point that the victim's parents had to contact authorities to find the culprit behind the relentless, years-long campaign of harassment.
They were enough to make a 53-year-old man blush.
It's crazy how having a phone can become the worst thing that happened to me.
Things are about to get so much worse.
Sorry, not sorry. Each and every day, I'd feel like I lose trust in everyone.
The parents wanted to confront people and start pointing fingers.
When they involve the FBI, you can just see how fast this escalates.
But unfortunately, identifying the perpetrator only made the situation more complex and far more disturbing, as the teen discovered that the anonymous internet bully who had tormented her for over a year was actually her own mother.
She was running it all through a VPN to try and avoid being tracked down. So she had a real nefarious scheme here where she would just keep telling her daughter to kill herself and insulting her and the boyfriend. There was even this subplot that arose where she started to blame another classmate that could have been behind it. So she started to try and frame another child for this. It was fucking wild. And keep in mind, the mother was the one working so closely with the authorities to, I guess, throw them off of her trail.
Kendra Licari, the mother turned perpetrator, ultimately served 16 months in prison from April 2023 to August 2024. But her justification for committing the crime against her own daughter was nowhere near convincing enough. Apparently, Kendra began sending messages as a copycat hater in an attempt to uncover who originally started the harassment, which she insists she did not initiate herself. But while doing so, she simply could not stop. Whether that explanation fully satisfied anyone is another story, but at the very least, Kendra did face legal consequences for her actions thanks to authorities, though not every police officer is exactly fitting to be or help parents, as proven by Sergeant Brian Gunsoli, who taught parents how to properly search their child's room, actions that Charlie warned would make your family hate you. For the first episode of their Planned Parent Aware series, the OC Sheriff of Orange County, California, released a walkthrough demonstrating how parents could conduct a thorough search of their child's bedroom. According to the sergeant in charge,
"It's important to search your child's room every once in a while, like I would say about every 6 months. Unless you suspect that they're using drugs or alcohol, then you're going to want to do it more often."
And here's what Penguinz0 had to say in response. Charlie then showed clips of the sergeant explaining exactly how parents should carry out the search, saying that they should inspect everything, from random containers, journals, pockets, and school backpack. In the video, the police mentioned that, but to this, Charlie stated, and it wasn't just Moist Critical who criticized the police officer, as the direct replies to the first episode were overwhelmingly negative, with many people sarcastically suggesting alternative titles such as, "How to make sure you never ever get to see your grandkids and end up dying alone in a shitty nursing home," and "OCCA Sheriff's Department is endorsing treating your kids as prisoners, even if you have no reason to suspect your kids are doing anything wrong. A surefire way to cause strife between parents and kids. Don't be surprised if your teenager acts out or runs away if you do this crap." Though this wave of backlash is arguably mild compared to what family vlogger Jordan Cheyenne faced after she accidentally uploaded unedited footage of herself coaching her son to cry harder for a YouTube thumbnail. Here's how Charlie introduced this creator.
The creator accidentally uploaded an unedited version of a video that she made. It was about heartbreak in the family, and in it, she was using her son's crying as part of her thumbnail, trying to direct him while he was really having a very rough time. It's pretty fucking hard to look at. Like, imagine you're crying and your mom's like, okay, keep up that energy, keep crying. I'm gonna get the iPhone real quick. Okay, now say I'm sad, super sad, but make sure to subscribe because it'll make me happy. You know, like that's a fucking nightmare. I'd rather be part of the Manson family than a family vlog channel. Like, it just seems horrible.
Before he proceeded to play the actual clip or the disturbing vlog.
Come here, come closer for the video, come closer. Come closer. Put your head right here. Come closer. Closer down, put your head down here. Act like you're crying. Really quick.
I am crying.
Go like this.
No, Mom, I'm actually seriously crying.
No, I know, but go like this.
For context, Jordan and her 8-year-old son had just found out that the dog they were supposed to pick from a breeder had a potentially deadly illness. Understandably, the young boy was in so much distress, but this did not stop Cheyenne from coaching her son on how to place his hand and wail in a certain way. As the clip circulated online, Jordan received a huge amount of backlash, with viewers commenting things like, "Once again, this proves every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child." And also, one noted, her son repeating, "I'm actually crying though," several times to me seems like desperation for his mother to pay attention to him and not the camera. I wonder how deprived of parental love this child feels. Charlie once again expressed his disgust for parents willing to exploit their children for views.
They will do anything for fucking views. Here she saw an opportunity like, oh, starts rubbing her hands together like a cartoon villain. How can I make the most amount of views off of this horrible situation? I know. Let's make sure that the audience can see my son is crying, and then I'll cry. But listen here, Junior, if we don't get more tears out of this, we're gonna fucking starve. Do you want that on your conscience? Then you'll have something to really cry about, because you'll be going hungry if this thumbnail isn't fucking sad enough. So you're gonna have to fucking cry more, now! And then look at the camera, please. Okay, now come here. Okay, good. All right, excellent.
The backlash Jordan faced, both indirectly online and directly through harassment on her Instagram stories, was severe enough that she ultimately deleted her channel and issued an apology video in which she expressed how immensely disappointed she was in herself.
Come here, come pose for the thumbnail with me after the video was done. And that was so disgusting of me. I should not have done that at all. We were both already so sad and upset and in such a vulnerable state today.
But people weren't buying her apology, with a comment saying, "She's not apologizing because she's ashamed of her actions. She's apologizing because she got caught." Charlie himself also gave his insight about the matter.
It's not like there's anything she could have said to make the situation better or a way to justify that behavior. And she doesn't try to. I mean, like, how are you gonna fucking spin that where you're like the hero? Like, no, you see, the reason I was trying to direct my kids crying for a thumbnail is actually because terrorists were holding the dog hostage and they demanded at least 1 million views on this video. So I had to do everything in my power to make it happen in order to save the dog's life. You know, like, there's nothing she could have done to justify anything in the video. All she could really say is that it was gross, it was stupid, and she's sorry. That is really all she could do in the situation. One thing that I would also like to mention is the fact that she keeps saying how emotional she was and that she was like really crying all day and just super emotional overall. I don't necessarily get that perspective from the short clip I watched because it seems like she wasn't crying and it seems like she hadn't been crying. It looks like she hasn't cried since Jersey Shore got canceled.
Though one thing she at least did right was promising that her son would be completely off her YouTube channel moving forward. And it seems that she's stayed true to that promise, as her revived YouTube channel is now fully focused on health and manifestation. But speaking of mothers who don't mind forcing their children to do things against their wishes, Charlie then introduces us to the horrible moms on Halloween. Charlie called out the all-too-common group of mothers who, instead of letting their kids enjoy a normal Halloween night going from house to house, would force them to take advantage of take-it-yourself candy setups on front porches. And this time, Charlie was venting his frustration of his experience as a child.
I've held on to a grudge for the better part of 2 decades, and it all started as a child trick-or-treating in a neighborhood where, you know, sometimes a house isn't home, so they leave the candy out on the porch in a bowl, you know, with a sign, "Please take one," or "Just be considerate." And every single fucking time that was out there, I knew I was getting no candy because some goddamn twice-divorced, miserable mother took all the candy and put it in their child's bag so that way they could conclude trick-or-treating early. That happened every single year that any house left that open, and I know it was the moms that did it because I was friends with all the neighborhood kids, and they would complain about their mothers taking all that fucking candy for them and ruining trick-or-treating. And that tradition, 20 years later, is still happening on Halloween.
He then proceeded to show clips of these horrible moms in action.
There's always an assumed risk when you leave candy out like this. Yes, a kid's gonna take more than you'd like them to, an excessive amount, but you never expect a parent to get down and dirty in the trenches stealing candy. And stealing is a word I'm definitely using loosely here, because you're not fucking stealing it. This isn't some grand heist, no GTA shit here. It's just you're taking candy from everyone else in the neighborhood, so when they go to that house, they'll be disappointed there's no candy left, and you're making your children's trick-or-treating experience far shorter just because you want to get this shit over with faster.
Adding on top of Charlie's statement, one person commented, "So true about the moms just wanting to go home early. So disgusting. They probably just want to hurry up and get home to get a glass of wine and post on Facebook how magical taking their kid out trick-or-treating was." And others were more empathetic to the children suffering because of these mothers, stating, "I feel bad for the kids watching their parents shamelessly abusing people's hospitality." Charlie shared more examples of these horrible Halloween moms. Like in one video, a young trick-or-treater happily took just 1 or 2 pieces of candy and moved along, but the parent behind her proceeded to dump an entire portion's worth of candy into her own child's bag. And to further illustrate how kids can sometimes be more respectful than adults, Charlie discussed another video he'd seen but could not play due to copyright risks.
There's another really good video from this Halloween yesterday where it's a mother and the daughter. They go up to a house and the mother just starts taking all the candy and putting it in the bag, and the whole time the daughter's saying, "You took too much." The daughter very clearly doesn't feel great about the mom taking all the candy, but the mom's just, shut the fuck up. We're making it big. We're doing it big here. Then she runs away with all the candy, literally holding her daughter by the arm and running like they just committed some type of high crime, like a thief or some shit. I guess she was trying to live like an action movie fantasy by taking, diamonds or something. I don't know, but it's just fucking 2-cent pieces of candy.
Many of the comments pointed out that these parents' actions were not just problematic in the moment, but also a breeding ground for their children's future bad behavior, writing, "This teaches your kids that they should take everything and be greedy. That's not good parenting. Kids watch and kids learn." And, "The moms who steal all the candy are gonna wonder why their kids grew up to be awful people, or good people and never call a visit. But of course, they'll never blame themselves." Though, compared to Ruby Franke, saying that these candy-stealing mothers would seem like saints would not be an exaggeration. After all, this woman who once portrayed herself as the perfect mother of a Mormon family on their YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, turned out to be nothing more than a facade for a woman who did not hesitate to abuse her children just to film the perfect video.
Sit her down on the fucking couch. Okay, move it. If I hear one more word, get out!
Though unfortunately, it wasn't until her children, who by then appeared malnourished with duct-taped legs and multiple visible injuries, managed to escape the home they were held in, that authorities began to investigate the years of abuse they'd endured. This ultimately led to the arrest of Ruby Franke and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt.
Ruby Frank and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, were arrested this week, and they're being charged with 6 counts of child abuse.
Now, what was really odd about all of this was that there were already hints of abuse right in front of the eyes of millions of people watching the channel.
But I told the kids, I said, "I'm not even gonna let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
The red flags were all there. She was hiding in plain sight. In 2020, Chad Frank, then 15, told YouTube viewers in one family video that he had been sleeping on a beanbag for months and that he had lost his bedroom after playing a prank on his little brother. How did she get away with it for so long, if this was literally in their YouTube video? She, on camera in her TikTok or whatever, said that she denies her children food as a form of punishment, and then apparently one of the kids also revealed that he had lost bedroom privileges for months after playing a prank. How? How did this persist? This should have went straight to prison. Do not pass go.
In fact, the signs were sometimes too obvious to ignore. Even the children themselves were already calling the authorities for help, though one way or another, it was always brushed off.
A lot of the community that was aware of this channel was actively trying to get CPS involved, especially when it came to that beanbag incident where one of the children made it clear that they had been sleeping on a beanbag for an extended period of time because they had lost their bedroom due to that prank that they had played on one of the siblings. So CPS did get loosely involved at some point, but Ruby was somehow able to brush them off and nothing came from it somehow. For an authority figure to look at any of these videos, it should have been a massive, alarming situation. Fucking sirens should have been blaring. that this went on for as long as it did, when a lot of people did keep trying to push this forward to CPS to get them to take action, knowing that something was wrong and knowing what Ruby was posting about and saying was not okay. It's not strict parenting, it's actual abuse.
So by the time the kids found out about their mother's arrest, all they could do was get reassured that at least it was now all over.
Oh, this was one of the children. Sherry Frank, now a junior at BYU, posted about her mother's arrest on Instagram saying justice is being served. So one of the kids was trying to alert CPS and the police and they didn't do anything? How would you not trust one of the victims of it? Especially when there's so much documented evidence on their own fucking YouTube channel.
However, many people online thought that Ruby's sentencing was still less of a punishment than what she did to her children, with one person writing, "What is extra sickening is when you think of the fact that even if they are convicted, they will be sent to prison, where they'll get a bed, not a beanbag, and get 3 meals a day. They'll be receiving a lighter criminal punishment for child abuse in a literal jail than the punishment their child faced for pranking a sibling." People were also alarmed about the fact that Ruby, despite being arrested already, still used to influence tens of thousands of parents, stating, "The scariest thing is that out there, right frickin' now, there are hundreds, if not possibly thousands of parents applying her lessons of discipline to their own kids." Now, 8 months after his first video about Ruby, Charlie made another one covering her abuse, titled "Evil Family YouTuber is Facing Justice," where he showed that, true to her brand, Ruby continued to blame everyone else except herself after the incident, instead of being remorseful.
Today, I have an update to share with all of you because they have been sentenced. Ruby Frank was apparently sobbing at the sentencing and blamed the child abuse on being deceived into thinking the world was evil. I don't understand that thought process at all. She was deceived into thinking the world was an evil place, thus she had to be evil herself. You're the evil, Ruby. You are the one who knocks. The fuck are you talking about? She had the gall to try and paint herself as a victim almost, making claims that she was manipulated and like morally confused and it ended up with her turning into this child abuser. It's ridiculous.
Though her claim that she believed that there's some sort of evil in the world may not have been entirely fabricated just for the trial, it was later revealed that in her journals, Frankie repeatedly insisted that her son was possessed by a demon. In one entry from July 11th, 2023, she wrote that it was a big day for evil, and described an incident where her son was pushed into the water and she held her hand over his nose and mouth, and she wrote that she did this to help the boy.
She was sentenced to 4 to 60 years in prison. She pled guilty along with her associate to abusing 2 of Frank's children.
The good news, though, was that she was fully convicted, but Charlie was personally not satisfied with the possibility that she was only sentenced up to 4 years of prison time, wrapping up the video with hope that they would receive the maximum penalty possible.
However, neither woman will serve more than 30 years in prison because of a Utah law that prohibits consecutive sentences exceeding that. The reason why there's a huge range of 4 to 60 years is because there's still one more step where another board is going to ultimately decide how much time they should spend there. And if the board members are watching, it better be the maximum. Anything shy of the maximum is an affront to justice. Heavens to Betsy, I tell you, if they end up only serving 4 years for these actions, I'm gonna have a conniption. You would be enabling monsters to get away with it, and that is an unforgivable sin on your part. You would be condemning yourself to hell for that. You'd be dining down there with Lucifer in the afterlife if you let them get away with this and only get 4 years of prison time. What they've done is unforgivable, and I think even 30 years, if they get the maximum sentence, is a light sentence for this shit. This is awful stuff.